Go.
Hello, my name is Sean Davis and I'm currently studying BTEC Sport and Exercise Science at St Anselm's College. I've had experience coaching youth hockey teams as sport theory at St Anselm's and I'm now in the process of applying for the role of a professional coach. As part of my application process, I'll take you through a PowerPoint presentation showing the full understandings of the roles of a coach and the methods and equipment that a coach can use to develop performers in the team. My job roles and aims. My aim is to become a coach at St Anselm's with the under-15s hockey team. This is to support the development and prepare their development as players and prepare them for the transition to the senior teams, first team and second team in under-16s. My role will be primarily revolved around attacking and to improve their shooting and finishing up front. As this is an area we struggled with over the years, we've always been a very defensive side but lack quality up front. I also want to improve their attacking awareness. This includes creative use of space, recognising opportunities and their off-ball movement. I also want to work on their ability in the final 23-metre line. This includes 1v1 attacking, finishing, creating space and more accurate short and long quarters. I also want to create a disciplined structure within the team. For me and my style of play, this will be a 4-3-3 attacking formation with the back four and the midfielders supporting the attackers, using the wings to create space and chances. All this is aimed towards improving the overall quality of attacking at St Anselm's. The skills required. There are many skills that I must have for coaching. The first is the organisation of a session, as planning sessions requires high levels of organisation to motivate athletes and maintain interest. A coach must ensure they know how many participants will be present, the activities are appropriate, what equipment will be needed, a facility is booked, and having clear methods of stopping and starting the session. There are different ways to do these types of methods. Knowing how many participants will be present, will be taking a register beforehand. This can be either on paper or online. The activities are appropriate as there's a range of ability levels in the team. Some will just be starting out, or some will be playing at a high level at club and county level. The facility is booked. This could either be one or two places, our sports hall or Neston Hockey Club. They both help us with our match scenarios and trainer matches. And clear methods of stopping and starting the session. For me, this would be a whistle, so when I blow the whistle, all players must stop and bring their attention to me. A second skill I must have is rapport building. This involves having an excellent relationship with and the trust of my players. This helps me get the best out of them in match days through teamwork, communication and unity with one another. To develop a good rapport, I must have some common ground between me and my players. This involves getting to know them during and in between matches, so in between sessions, during matches or on the way to matches. A third skill I must have is communication. This is possibly the most important skill required to coach effectively. Verbal communication is used to keep language simple. I should ensure what I'm saying is correct and have the players' attention. Non-verbal communication can take many forms, such as hand reading body language, whether that be positive or negative, or hand signals. This involves telling a player where to track back, or where to move, or where to pass the ball. And a fourth skill I must have is being a good motivator. Success and enjoyment are critical when it comes to motivating players. I need to adequately plan progressive and challenging drills to maintain my players' motivation and they drive to succeed in training and matches. There are two different types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation is working towards something without an external reward. For example, this could be a player trying to learn a skill in a short amount of time, in like a month. Extrinsic motivation is working to something because of an external reward. This could either be praise from myself or from another coach, or an award like a winner's medal. Knowledge required. Technical knowledge is the way a player performs a skill. Different players have different playing styles, therefore use different techniques for the same outcome. Very commonly in hockey, this is either with a drag flick or an aerial, as they're you can use different techniques to perform them. I should have a clear understanding of the technical requirements and be able to demonstrate them effectively to players. Tactical knowledge is the skills and strategies that players use to win. I would need to help the players understand tactics by applying them in competitive scenarios such as training like drills or training matches. This can help with things such as overloading the wings to create space and deliver balls to the striker. The components of fitness. This is the ability to meet the demands of hockey. I must have an understanding of the training needs and fitness relevant to the sport. This includes aerobic endurance, speed, agility and power. All of this helps support development as players. The training methods, it is important to have a variety of activities to use in training sessions to make training interest and motivation. This gives the players a programme that they can use in club and outside of training sessions, such as in their own individual sessions or in different club or county sessions. Such that, for example, we could have 2 sessions a week, one involving skill-related fitness such as stick handling or agility, and the other one involving training scenarios and training matches. This helps us understand the tactics and the technical side that we need to use to win. And the adaptations to challenge performers, it's important they adapt sessions to make sure that the players are challenged and entertained during the sessions. There are different adaptations I can make, such as during a fitness session, the pace that we perform a drill at could be increased, or if we're doing a passing drill, I could add an extra ball to increase the intensity. And finally, planning for changing conditions. I should be prepared for every scenario, which is also known as contingency planning. When undertaking this, it's important that I understand everything that could possibly go wrong, make sure none of these happen, and have a plan in case things do, such as moving to an indoor pitch or facility as we have a training pitch in Berkshire Park, and during winter we can get waterlogged very easily. So the plan I can do is to move the session from that facility into our sports hall. The professional qualities required. First is professionalism. This is my conduct and behaviour that will determine the experience and the future behaviour of the players. I must speak clearly and always use appropriate language. So, for example, on a match day, I must represent myself and the team positively by staying composed on the touchline, respecting officials, and setting an example of sportsmanship to the players. A second quality I must have is being knowledgeable, which means I should have a wealth of knowledge about hockey, specifically about the technical and tactical sides, such as stick handling, the fitness requirements such as cardiovascular endurance, and the rules and regulations of the game. I should be approachable, which means players should be able to approach me to discuss anything. They should feel able to ask questions and seek advice and guidance on performance when needed. I can demonstrate approachability by maintaining a friendly demeanour whilst maintaining a professional relationship. This could involve, after a training session, that a player could come to me and ask where they went wrong on a certain drill or skill. I can give them feedback, which they can then use in their individual sessions, which helps them further develop. I also should be reflective, which means I should be able to learn from my experience if we are to develop. I can do this by evaluating every single training session and matching it to do their strengths and weaknesses. We do this commonly by filming matches on our video system, and I can send this to the players as well, and they can give me feedback on what went well and what could be better. This is stepping stones for future improvements, as it shows adaptations that I can make in future sessions. And finally, I should be responsive and reactive. This means I should be able to make the right decisions at the right time. Events and sessions and matches might require a fast response or quick adaptation. The more experience I have, the easier it will be to make the right decision quickly. Commonly, if we go a goal down in an important match, I should be able to make substitutions or change the tactics to make sure that we either score or this doesn't happen, or we don't go another goal down. The best practice for a coach, the first one is safeguarding and DBS checks. All coaches who work with children or young people have a responsibility for safeguarding them under their supervision. Safeguarding is protecting people from harm or damage with an appropriate measure. For example, at the start of the season, I can set clear behavioural expectations for players to protect any players from harassment or discrimination during the season. I have a duty to place the players' welfare at the top of my concerns. The second is equal opportunities, as I will deliver sessions to a variety of players and to a range of ability levels from a range of different ethnic and social backgrounds. It is important that I give everyone the same opportunities to develop and improve their performance. This could be for players just starting out. We can play them in less important matches to give them more game time and experience, and then the more experienced players, I can move them up an age group to see how well they adapt to the higher intensity of higher years. The third best practice is risk assessment. This means I have a duty of care to provide a safe environment for all players to take part in my sessions. Risk assessments remove the risk of harm to anyone in the facility. I also need to be aware of any emergency procedures in the facility and ensure everyone follows them. The risk assessment I can take before a session could be doing a safety check on the sports to make sure there are no trip hazards or any obvious harm that can be done to the players. The emergency procedures could be a fire drill and knowing all the evacuation routes in case the worst does happen. A fourth best practice is qualifications in CPD. I must look to continue my professional development, which is known as CPD. CPD can be set by myself, but also by a superior or mentor. As I'm working with the PE department, it's going to either be Mr. Edwards or Mr. Hale who could set me this. This is mostly done through the attainment of recognised qualifications. For me, as a starting coach, this is really the England Hockey Level 1 Coaching Award. And finally, the administration for coaching is the paperwork that becomes part of coaching sports performers. The PARQ forms ask specific questions relating to past or current medical conditions or illnesses that have players. I use this to judge whether the player is at appropriate level of health to take part in the session. The form could ask, for example, if they smoke or if they've been hospitalised in the last 6 months. Supporting the development of performers. The first one is hot and cold feedback, which is where I need to consider appropriate timing when providing feedback. Hot feedback is given to players as soon as a session or technique is finished. This could be after they perform a slap hit. I can give them more techniques on how to better their ability in striking it. Cold feedback is given after the session, which gives me time to reflect on performance in more detail and provide detailed feedback. For example, when we record our matches, I can the evening after, I can spend that analysing what we did and how we could improve. I could also send this footage to the players and ask them the same questions about how I could improve the sessions. Feedback to individuals is where coaches often speak to an individual player to provide them with feedback. During this, I can highlight individual areas of development and consider the approach for this over the next few sessions. For example, if our striker is struggling to score goals, I can give him some different individual sessions that he can do outside of his time to help improve his striking and his finishing. Feedback to groups. I may choose to provide feedback to a group of players at one time. For example, the group of defenders, if we play 4 defenders in a match at half time, I can tell them different adaptations they can make to either pass the ball to one of them more to control possession or to try and pick out passes more to the attackers. The focus should be on areas of improvement and strengths of the team. Finally, feedback on performance, which should be linked to specific areas of hockey, such as technical performance and intensity, highlighting the areas of development and ensuring that solutions are provided. Goal setting. Having goals is a key part of the process. If I do not set goals, the plans can lack focus and performance can fail to develop. The first one is primary and secondary goals. Primary goals are the end goals, are the ultimate focus. For example, at the start of the season, I can tell my striker that this season I want him to score 15 goals. If on his way to scoring these goals, he scores 5 short corners, this will be his secondary goal, which occurs as he works towards the primary goal. Outcome and competition goals is where I may set a player that focuses on the end of a competitive scenario, such as at the start I can tell my central defender that I want him to make 25 passes in a single match, or I can tell my winger that I want him to win 3 short corners in a match. During the session or training, which is setting goals the players can achieve during a training session. This could be a player scoring at least 3 goals in a shooting drill. This can be used to further motivate players and increase their intrinsic motivation. Process goals is setting a certain date that may challenge a performer to master a specific technique or skill. For example, I can ask our short corner taker, I'm giving him 30 days to try and master how to take a drag flick. This can also increase his intrinsic motivation and drive to succeed. Short-term goals are to be achieved between a day and a month, which could be a target that coach wishes to be achieved after the next training session. This could be to improve their time at their 50-metre sprint by either half a second or a second. Long-term goals help teams determine where they want to go, what they want to achieve, and the best way of getting there. For example, if I ask my team what their goals at the start of the season, which could be win the regional cup, which is the North West Finals, we can set a clear, structured plan that we can use throughout the year, such as setting 2 or 3 training sessions a week, playing on a Wednesday, and ensuring that we always get the best out of them every session. And finally, future development goals. I may consider developing a player's technique to make an overall improvement in their development. For example, there's a short corner take, and I can tell him that I want him to score 5 more short corners than last season. The use of technology to support development. Over the last decade, a range of technology has been introduced to support coaching. The first one is video analysis software, also known as VIO. This records training sessions and matches which can be used to observe performance movements, correct bad technique and further develop performance. We use this more in more important matches where players can highlight their individual areas, and the players can also use this in their GCSE and A-level moderation. Heart rate monitors, which measure the heart rate of players in real time. This is often used to measure the intensity that a performer is working at. Commonly, this is used in pre-season to monitor cardiovascular fitness or establish a baseline fitness level at the start of pre-season. Online resources. The internet has a vast number of resources to support development. Specialist websites provide support and guidance. These can include correcting technique, execution, training programs and plans, etc. For example, the England Hockey website has a Hockey Hub section. This provides players with details and videos on how to correct techniques and perform different fitness drills and skill-related fitness drills. Laboratory testing is performed in sports laboratories using specialist equipment with complex protocols to measure the elements of a player's body, such as a VO2 max test. However, we don't use this as very few performers have access to these facilities and they cost a lot of money to use this service. Electronic training logs, software to support the development and the planning of sessions and monitor progress towards achieving goals. This can be done on smartphones with different apps and websites such as Strava, which can monitor all aspects of a player's fitness. And finally, electronic tactics boards, which is what a coach can use to illustrate their tactics and game plans, showing players' movements and strategies in a simple way. I can do this either at half time or before in a team talk where I establish our game plan and how our tactics will be used to win the game. All the supportive professionals, a physiotherapist which helps performers impacted by injury by giving them exercises, physical therapy, education and guidance and getting them back to full fitness. A nutritionist provides nutritional education and guidance to sports performers, helping to improve their eating habits. A sports masseur uses massages to rub and manipulate muscles and soft tissues to help relieve stress, tension and pain in the body. A chiropractor focuses on identifying and treating neuromuscular disorders through physical adjustment and or manipulation of the spine. An osteopath dissects and provides treatment for injuries through thorough movement, stretching and massaging of the muscles and joints. A sports psychologist assesses the psychological factors affecting performance and considers how playing can affect psychological and physical factors. And finally, strength and conditioning coaches using specific exercises to improve performance. They use these to help athletes to avoid injury by ensuring performance are in the best physical condition to cope with the demands of hockey. However, it's important to note that we don't use many of these services as their services require a lot of money and time. However, if we play an important match such as in the National Cup, we may hire a physiotherapist to come accompany us to the game. This helps us in the days before and to improve their physical condition before a game. And in the coming weeks before important matches, we may use a strength and conditioning coach. This helps us get the players in the best physical condition. We normally do this either in our multi-gym or at UTS gym in Hoylake. Finally, why would be perfect for this role? I've played numerous matches at St Anselm, starting from under 13s and now in the first team. I've had experience coaching youth hockey teams, as I've said. I've attained my level 2 sports leaders award and I've had previous coaching with players in the first team like Jack Worthington and Daniel Smith. I want to have future roles within England hockey, such as officiating and coaching. I also want to obtain future qualifications, recognised qualifications, such as the England Hockey Level 1 Coaching Award. During this time, I've gained excellent knowledge in the technical and tactical sides of hockey, and I've been a role model for younger players. I'd also look forward to working alongside Mr. Edwards in the PE department. My future aims for working at St Anselm's, I want to have an overall improvement in the quality of hockey at St Anselm's and finally get the team competing for silverware such as the North West Finals or the National Cup, as we never won a trophy at schoolboy level. I also want to organise a senior tour to Ireland to let the players experience the standard of hockey in other countries, either in Ireland or Netherlands. Thank you for listening and I hope you consider me for the role.